PS5 games are expensive. $70 for a game is no joke, so when you buy something, you expect it to be worth it, right? I've played dozens of titles to find the ones that really respect your time and your money. Here are 18 games that deliver way more than they cost. All right, let's go.
1. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Kicking off the list with a certified masterpiece that is absolutely worth every penny, Silent Hill 2 Remake. This isn't just a prettier version of an old game. This is a definitive psychological horror experience. You pay for the atmosphere and the dread. The sheer level of detail the PS5 provides here makes the town of Silent Hill feel more suffocating and terrifying than ever. The fog, the unsettling sounds, the new camera angle, it all intensifies that deep, gnawing fear. It's the kind of game that sticks with you long after you turn the console off. The story of James Sunderland is legendary for a reason. It's a profound, mature, and deeply tragic narrative about grief and guilt. Playing through his journey and encountering the iconic monsters like Pyramid Head is a necessary experience for any serious gamer. The gameplay is intentionally clunky during combat, which perfectly reinforces the horror. You're not a hero. You're just a broken man trying to survive. But the puzzle solving and exploration are top tier. My only hesitation is that it's a slow burn, not a jump scare fest. But for delivering one of the most important and emotionally resonant narratives in gaming history with modern polish, this is a must-buy that delivers immense value.
2. Split Fiction. Next up, let's talk about a new IP that totally justifies its full price tag through sheer innovation and replayability: Split Fiction. The unique value here is the simultaneous dual gameplay. This game completely messes with your head. You're playing two separate campaigns with two different characters in two completely different genres, say a stealth-focused sci-fi adventure and a top-down fantasy RPG, and the actions you take in one world directly and instantly affect the environment and events in the other. It's a puzzle box disguised as an action game. The gameplay loop forces you to think spatially across two parallel realities. Mastering the transition mechanic is where the value lies. It's not just a gimmick, it constantly introduces fresh challenges and incredible aha moments. The story is equally compelling, focusing on two intertwined narratives that slowly reveal a massive cosmic conspiracy. The protagonists are instantly engaging, and their connection across dimensions is the emotional core. If I had to complain, the sheer complexity can be a little overwhelming at first, but for a game that gives you two fully fleshed out experiences that constantly interact, offering an unbelievably unique kind of narrative and puzzle solving depth, Split Fiction is an easy recommendation. It's a huge value proposition.
3. Black Myth Wukong. Alright, let's talk pure, unadulterated action value with Black Myth Wukong. When you pay $70 for this, you're paying for an epic, high-stakes battle experience and incredible visual fidelity. The value is in the spectacle and the boss fights. Based on Journey to the West, the game throws you into visually jaw-dropping battles against massive, intricate bosses drawn from Chinese mythology. That feeling of finally mastering the patterns and taking down a towering beast is the ultimate gaming satisfaction loop. The gameplay is a demanding Souls-like that respects your skill. Playing as Wukong, you have access to incredible magical transformations and abilities that add a phenomenal flair and tactical depth to the combat. It's fast, brutal, and requires absolute focus. The world design, based on classic mythology, is breathtakingly unique. Every environment and creature is rendered with stunning detail on the PS5, making the exploration feel like you're stepping into an ancient, dangerous storybook. My main worry for some people is the difficulty level. It's high, but honestly, the sheer quality and visual impact of this action RPG make it a no-brainer for the price. The challenge is the reward, the mastery is the value. 4. Lost Judgment. Next up, a game that delivers an incredible double punch of epic crime narrative and massive open-world side content, Lost Judgment. This game is an absolute steal for the amount of playtime it offers. The value is in the sheer volume and quality. You're not just getting a spectacular, dark mystery crime thriller with Yakuza-level stakes, you're getting a complete life simulator in modern Japan. Playing as private detective Takayuki Yagami, the main story is gripping, dealing with bullying, law, and morality. The gameplay is ridiculously varied. One minute you're using Yagami's amazing kung fu fighting styles in a massive street brawl, the next you're investigating a case with stealth and drone surveillance. And the side content? You can spend 40 hours just teaching kids, dancing, boxing, or riding a motorcycle. It's unbelievable. The protagonist, Yagami, is fantastic. Cool, resourceful, and morally gray. The game makes you feel like a genuine detective solving a complex puzzle. If I have one tiny critique, sometimes the sheer amount of dialogue can feel overwhelming, but it's all part of that deep cinematic experience. For a game that gives you a cinematic, must-play story, 3 different fighting styles, and enough unique side activities to fill 3 separate games, Lost Judgment offers insane value for its price tag.
Number 5, Hollow Knight Silksong. Alright, let's talk about Hollow Knight Silksong. This game has been highly anticipated for years, and when you finally play it, you realize you are paying for literally hundreds of hours of perfectly crafted exploration. The value here is the density of content and world design. If the original Hollow Knight is anything to go by, Silksong is a massive, sprawling, hand-drawn Metroidvania masterpiece. Every single corner of the world is meticulously designed, hiding secrets, boss fights, and incredible lore. This isn't just a platformer, it's an entire universe you get lost in. You're playing as Hornet, and the gameplay is faster, more agile, and vertical than the original. That smooth, demanding platforming and the challenging yet fair combat are what make this series so addictive. That cycle of finally beating a difficult boss after dozens of tries is pure gaming adrenaline. The art style and music are worth the price of admission alone. It's a gorgeous, haunting, and beautiful world. My only concern, and it's a big one, is that it might be too big and too challenging for some casual players. But for those of us who love a deep, rewarding challenge and want a game that respects both our time and our money by giving us endless content, Silksong is an instant classic that is worth every penny.
Number 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Next up, a game that delivers unparalleled cinematic scope and emotional storytelling, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, come on, this game is a massive achievement, and it absolutely delivers the value. What you're paying for is a massive JRPG experience. This isn't a small segment of the original, this is a huge, sprawling, open-world adventure packed with content. Exploring the vast Midgar-Zolom swamp, riding the chocobos across the open fields, and discovering all the unique side quests, the scale is staggering. The combat system is phenomenal. It perfectly blends the real-time action of modern gaming with the tactical pause and strategy of classic Final Fantasy. Mastering the synergy abilities between Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa is so much fun and adds incredible strategic depth. The story is the heart of the value. Seeing these beloved characters, Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, expanded and brought to life with this level of visual detail is breathtaking. That iconic narrative hits even harder in Rebirth. If I had one minor issue, sometimes the pacing felt a little slow during certain hub sections, but for delivering dozens of hours of gorgeous world exploration, deep combat customization, and one of the best narratives in the history of the genre, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is worth the full price and then some. It's a true masterpiece.
Seven, Forza Horizon 5. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. Forza Horizon 5 is a prime example of pure, undisputed gaming value that transcends platform. This is the best open-world driving game ever made, period. The value is in the sheer fun and endless activities. The world of Mexico is a stunning, diverse sandbox, from dense jungles and snowy volcanoes to arid deserts and bustling cities. The gameplay is pure arcade joy. It's fast, forgiving, and endlessly satisfying. Every 5 minutes, the game throws a new challenge, a new race, or a new vehicle at you. This is the definition of a game that keeps giving. You pay for access to literally hundreds of cars and an incredible variety of competitive and casual activities. Cruising down the highway, then suddenly jumping into a massive showcase event against a train or a fleet of jets, that is the spectacle that justifies the price. The protagonist is you, the player, and the focus is on fun and freedom. The game constantly encourages you to explore and race, never taking itself too seriously. My only complaint is that the online voice chat can sometimes be annoying, but that's easily muted. For a game that is a non-stop dopamine rush, offering hundreds of hours of quality content and arguably the most beautiful open-world driving experience available, Forza Horizon 5 is an incredible bargain for anyone who loves racing.
Eight, Ghost of Yōtei. Let's talk about a game that sells itself on unparalleled atmosphere and cinematic quality. Ghost of Yōtei. Sucker Punch created one of the most beautiful open worlds ever, and this game absolutely refined that experience. The value is in the immersive, authentic experience. This game transports you completely to the isolated, beautiful, and dangerous island of Hokkaido. The focus on the guiding wind and the minimalist HUD makes the exploration feel organic and completely cinematic. You are paying for a samurai movie you get to play. The combat is phenomenal and deeply satisfying. That perfect balance between the honorable samurai stances and the brutal stealth of the ghost is addictive. Mastering the standoffs where you can take down 3 enemies with a single, perfectly timed draw never gets old. The world is a visual masterpiece filled with hidden shrines, bamboo strikes, and hot springs that give you permanent upgrades. Every discovery feels meaningful. My only critique is that sometimes the open world travel felt a little slow compared to the intensity of the combat, but for a game that offers breathtaking beauty, incredible combat depth, and a story that truly makes you feel like a warrior in a changing world, Ghost of Yōtei is a guaranteed full-price purchase that delivers massive replay value.
9. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. Let's dive back into the beautiful madness that is Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. If you wanted a game that absolutely defines immersion and uniqueness, you found it, and it delivers immense value. The value here is in the atmospheric immersion and unparalleled storytelling. This is pure Hideo Kojima at his best. A visually stunning, emotionally complex, and philosophically deep narrative. Playing as Sam Porter Bridges, you're not just delivering packages. You're experiencing a vast, desolate, and beautiful post-apocalyptic world that feels completely unique. The gameplay loop, the Strand game, is incredibly addictive. The methodical traversal, the management of resources and cargo, and the challenge of building infrastructure across the world for yourself and other players. That sense of shared purpose is what hooks you. The new mechanics, like the customizable base, really expand on that satisfying loop. The visual fidelity and the narrative depth are what you're paying for. The cutscenes are cinematic masterpieces, and the cast delivers incredible performances that drive the often confusing but always compelling story. My only piece of advice is that this game demands patience. The slow, deliberate pace isn't for everyone, but for those who embrace it, Death Stranding 2 offers an unforgettable, massive experience that easily justifies its price tag through its sheer creativity and quality.
10. Demon Souls. Next up, let's talk about the game that showed us the true power of the PS5 right at launch, Demon Souls. This game is an absolute masterclass in atmosphere and challenge, and it's a necessary purchase. The value here is the next-gen visual fidelity and the perfect challenge. Bluepoint didn't just remaster this, they rebuilt it from the ground up.
Volateria looks breathtakingly beautiful and horrifying on the PS5. That level of graphical polish on a classic design is huge value. The gameplay is brutally rewarding. As the progenitor of the Souls-like genre, it's fair but demanding. The sense of accomplishment you get after finally conquering a massive boss like the Tower Knight or the Penetrator after hours of struggle is unmatched. That challenge forces you to master the mechanics and respect the world. The atmosphere is thick with dread. The level design is intricate and unforgiving, pulling you deeper into its dark fantasy world. My one major complaint, which is common to the genre, is the sheer difficulty, which can be frustrating. But for a game that offers a pure, uncompromised, and visually stunning gameplay experience that forces you to earn every victory, Demon's Souls is a landmark title that belongs in every PS5 owner's library.
11. The Last of Us Part 2. Now, let's discuss a game that delivers perhaps the most emotionally impactful and intense narrative available on the PS5, The Last of Us Part 2. This is a heavy game, but the value is immense. What you're paying for is a masterpiece of storytelling and character development. The narrative is relentless, dark, and challenging, forcing you to constantly question the protagonist's motivations. The journey of Ellie and the introduction of Abby give this story a depth and complexity that few games ever achieve. The gameplay is brutal, visceral survival horror. The combat feels heavy and desperate, whether you're fighting the infected or hostile human factions. The sheer tension of clearing a dark room full of clickers or silently taking down a patrol using stealth is palpable. The game makes you feel the violence. The visuals and sound design are world-class, pushing the PS5 to deliver an incredible sense of realism. The world is gorgeous and deeply unsettling. My only caution is that the themes are incredibly dark and divisive, and the violence is hard to stomach at times. But for delivering a mature, beautifully crafted, and unforgettable narrative experience that demands your attention and respects your intelligence, The Last of Us Part 2 is a phenomenal value that sets a benchmark for the industry. 12. Baldur's Gate 3. Finally, let's talk about the game that defines role-playing value on the PS5, Baldur's Gate 3. This game is an absolute time sink and a masterpiece of player freedom. The value is the unmatched player choice and replayability. This is not a game you play once. This is a game you play for hundreds of hours across multiple characters. The sheer number of choices you make, the classes you can play, and the ways your decisions fundamentally alter the narrative are staggering. The gameplay is deep, turn-based D&D combat, and it is brilliant. Mastering the positioning, the spells, and the synergy between your party members is incredibly rewarding. Every encounter is a puzzle waiting to be solved creatively. The characters are phenomenal. Astarion, Shadowheart, Gale, your companions are deeply written, complex, and full of surprising depth. Their personal quest lines are just as engaging as the main quest. My only issue is the sheer size and complexity can be intimidating for newcomers to the genre, and yes, sometimes the performance can hiccup in the massive third act. But for delivering an absolutely gargantuan, complex, and rewarding RPG experience that offers unparalleled freedom, Baldur's Gate 3 is easily the best value purchase you can make on the PS5. 13. Dead Space. Let's dive into pure terror and atmosphere with the Dead Space remake. When you buy this, you are buying one of the most expertly crafted survival horror experiences ever made, completely rebuilt for the PS5. The value here is a masterclass in tension and immersion. The USG Ishimura feels more claustrophobic, horrifying, and alive than ever before thanks to the PS5's incredible lighting and 3D audio. Playing as Isaac Clarke, the terror is palpable. Every shadow, every creak in the ship, and every hiss from a necromorph keeps you on the edge of your seat. The gameplay is unique because of the strategic dismemberment system. You're not aiming for the head, you're tactically slicing off limbs with the plasma cutter, forcing you to think under pressure. That heavy, deliberate combat loop is incredibly satisfying and adds so much depth.
The story is a brilliant blend of sci-fi horror and psychological breakdown. Following Isaac's increasingly desperate journey to find his partner is compelling and dark. My only critique is that the sheer violence can be too much for some players. But for delivering a tense, visually stunning, and strategically deep survival horror experience that perfectly updates a classic, Dead Space is a non-negotiable purchase for quality and value.
14. Alan Wake 2. Next up, a game that delivers huge value through its innovation and narrative depth. Alan Wake 2. Remedy created a mind-bending masterpiece that demands your attention. The uniqueness that justifies the price is the layered meta-narrative structure. You're constantly switching between two deeply compelling protagonists, Saga Anderson in the terrifying, reality-bending forests of Bright Falls, and Alan Wake trapped in the surreal, shifting horror of the Dark Place. The contrast and way their stories influence each other is brilliant. The gameplay is tense, cerebral survival horror. For Saga, you're piecing together clues in the incredible mind place. And for Alan, you're literally rewriting the environment using the plot board. That player agency in the narrative is groundbreaking. Plus, the visual quality and the seamless integration of live-action video are top tier. The story is a complex, cosmic horror thriller that uses a massive, interconnected universe. It requires multiple playthroughs just to catch all the details. My only issue is that the slow, deliberate pacing in the beginning might test some people's patience, but for delivering one of the most innovative, visually ambitious, and narratively rewarding games on the console, Alan Wake 2 is a game that is absolutely worth every cent. 15. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Let's talk about a game that brings huge value through its unparalleled art style and deep strategic combat. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game is a visual feast and a complex RPG. The value here is the combination of artistry and depth. The game looks like a moving 19th century French painting, giving it a unique visual identity that immediately sets it apart. You're playing through a massive, emotionally charged quest to save humanity from a deadly curse. The gameplay is a brilliant hybrid turn-based RPG. You're engaging in strategic battles, but you have to use real-time, timed inputs for parries and blocks. This keeps you constantly engaged and forces you to master the timing, adding a layer of intensity to every turn. The protagonists are a close-knit expedition team, and their emotional journey is the core of the value. You spend hours building their relationships, customizing their complex skill trees, and preparing for the next massive encounter. My only reservation is that the complexity of the combat might have a steep learning curve. But for delivering an incredibly unique aesthetic, an emotionally resonant narrative, and a deep, demanding combat system, Clair Obscur is a massive RPG that offers incredible value for your money.
Looks abandoned.
16. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Next up, a game that delivers pure charm, stunning visuals, and delightful platforming. Kena Bridge of Spirits. This one is often overlooked, but it is a massive quality purchase. The value is in the Pixar-level visual quality and polish. Kena's world is vibrant, colorful, and feels like an animated movie you get to explore. The Rots, those adorable little spirits, are fantastic companions, helping you solve environmental puzzles and boost your combat abilities. The gameplay is a perfect mix of tight platforming, puzzle solving, and engaging action combat. Kena's bow and the Rot abilities give the battles a great sense of fluidity and tactical variety. Mastering the enemy types and using your spirit companions effectively is incredibly satisfying. The story is emotional and heartwarming, focusing on themes of loss, grief, and moving on. It's a beautifully told narrative that sticks with you. My only minor critique is that the difficulty spikes on some of the later boss fights can be surprising. But for offering a polished, visually stunning, and emotionally resonant adventure that feels perfectly scaled,
Kena, Bridge of Spirits is an absolute gem that is easily worth its price tag.
Number 17, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Alright, let's talk about the game that delivers unmatched traversal and cinematic superhero action. Marvel Spider-Man 2. This is pure, essential PS5 value. The value is the fluidity of traversal and dual protagonist action. Swinging through New York City is pure adrenaline, especially with the addition of the web wings, which elevate the sense of speed and freedom. The gameplay is fantastic because you're seamlessly swapping between the heavy, brutal symbiote powers of Peter and the electric finesse of Miles. The combat is the gold standard for superhero action. Fast, visually spectacular, and incredibly responsive. The boss battles, especially the encounters with villains like Kraven and Venom, are massive cinematic events. The story is a thrilling and emotional roller coaster, tackling complex themes within the superhero framework. It is expertly written and beautifully acted. My only wish is that the city felt a little less structured in terms of side activities sometimes. But for delivering a massive, polished, and unforgettable superhero experience that defines the PS5's capabilities, Spider-Man 2 is an absolute must-own that gives you huge entertainment value.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Finally, let's end the list with a game that delivers unmatched artistic vision and immersion. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. This is a shorter experience than some others, but the quality is immense. The value here is the uncompromising emotional and technical experience. This game is a masterclass in graphics, sound design, and performance capture. Playing as Senua, the unique experience of hearing her psychosis through the 3D audio is incredibly immersive and vital to the gameplay. The combat is heavy, cinematic, and visceral. Every fight feels like a desperate life or death duel. It's simple, but the weight and impact of every swing of the sword are profound. The story is a dark, mythical journey into Icelandic lore and Senua's internal battle against her own mind. It's a mature, unflinching, and deeply personal narrative that few games attempt. My only warning is that it is a linear and short experience, prioritizing narrative and atmosphere over gameplay length. But for delivering a profound, visually stunning, and technically unmatched artistic experience that fully utilizes the PS5's power, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is a unique, powerful purchase that is absolutely worth your money.
And that wraps up the list, guys. 18 phenomenal PS5 games that absolutely, without a doubt, respect your wallet and your time. If you are on the fence about dropping that $70 on any of these titles, I hope I helped you see the massive value, polish, and hours of quality content they deliver. So I want to hear from you. Which game on this list do you think offers the absolute best value? Was there a title I missed that should have made the cut? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below.